Hey everyone, Mike here at GearsOfBiz.com. We are hands-on with the LunaTik, a project that we backed a long time ago, a iPod Nano Watch created by Scott Wilson and the team over at Minimal Studios. We just got it in a few days ago. I've had it on my wrist, been able to play with it for a while, and I've been thoroughly impressed. This is definitely a product if you're looking to get an iPod Nano Watch. This is the designer end. This is the Mercedes. This is the high-end luxury designer version of the iPod Nano watches. I wouldn't mess around with any other types other than the LunaTik or the TikTok themselves. The guys at Minimal and Scott himself have created one hell of a product. So let me give you an overview of this. We've already unboxed it, as you can see here. We'll dive into this in just a minute. Let me take you through the boxing and the components of this. Very nice minimalistic box. Comes with kind of on the back here, you could see kind of a diagram of what this watch is. Now, I could see this being very handy if it ultimately winds up in Best Buy or the Apple Store. It's going to be able to explain to you guys that have never seen this before exactly how it functions and how it works. So it's a great design from a packaging standpoint. Now, let me go ahead and unbox this thing. I pull it out, put that off to the side, and this is where the watch sat around. The band itself just sat around right here, so you got that. And then you've got instruction manual, which is really nice at explaining things for even somebody that wouldn't have a clue of what to do. It also comes with these two what look like hex wrenches. These are what you're able to screw the iPod Nano in and out with. So we're going to go ahead and take these out. Now here's the watch itself. I'll put this on my wrist and show you what this looks like, and then I'll disassemble it and put it back together so you can see just how easy it is. The iPod Nano watch itself, you load this thing in here and these two things slide over the top of it, and your controls for the iPod Nano as well as the charging port and the headphones are respectively on the side, so it's pretty handy. So if I need to check my time, I just click it and there's my watch. Which, if I want to go and maybe say, look at the pedometer and see how many steps I've done for the day, I can go to my pedometer, I can click start, and I can measure my steps for the day. You can do all other types of things with an iPod Nano. There's plenty of reviews out there. You can go to photos. But we're going to go ahead and just show you how this looks and how this feels on your hand. So you can see that the iPod Nano is functioning, and here's the case. The band itself is made out of a silicone material, which is very soft and comfortable on the hand, which I was actually rather surprised. I thought this was going to be heavy and maybe something I can only wear on an active setting, but not the case at all. It's very light. I'd probably have to put it on a scale, but it weighs less than my phone. It weighs less than an iPhone. It's very light. You hardly even notice it's on your hand. So there's the band, and here's the case that goes around, and we'll get a close-up on it. It's very nice, brushed aluminum type texture. It's very sleek. People, when I put it on my hands, people recognize that it's some type of accessory. They often don't know it's a watch. Typically, when you look at a watch, you see a clock here. You actually have to click the iPod Nano button to see the watch hand. So lots of people ask, what in the heck is that on my hand? And I get to give them the wonderful demo. It's one heck of a conversation piece. This is the first product that probably a dozen people have stopped me in a day just to ask me what it is. So we're going to go ahead and put it on my wrist. I've got kind of bigger hands, but I've got a very small wrist, so it's kind of nice. Just goes around your wrist like so, like a regular watch. Slides through, tighten it, and then this is the important part. This is nothing more than just a little wedge pin. So if I go like this, and it wedges in there just like that. So you can see it looks just like a watch. People don't think it's anything different. They don't even notice it's an iPod Nano, which is really nice. It just looks like this. And it's blank, so people always ask you, oh, hey, what's that? And you check the time, and there's the time, and you could flip through and go to all the different types of things that are on here. So it's a pretty cool show and tell people. Now we're going to show you the difference of size of this in comparison to a variety of other watches. Alright, so here's a comparison of the iPod Nano watch in comparison to many other typical watches that are out there. Lots of people think that the iPod Nano watch might be too big, but I can test that not really, unless you're maybe a tiny female and you have too small of a wrist. That's the only way that I could see this being too small of a product for you. So if you take a look, I'm going to compare some here. Here's a typical skeleton watch, pretty good size. You can see it up here. Pretty good size. This is an Addy K. You can see how it looks on my wrist. There's how it looks on my wrist. Here's the comparison of size to the iPod Nano. It's really about the same size, but with squared corners around it. So it's not overly that big. Now, here's a comparison to a standard Timex watch, side by side. Here's a Citizen Nighthawk. You can see that's about the same size. Here is a Tag. It's a little bit smaller. Now I'll be ridiculous and I'll go ahead and just put all these on. Yes, this looks ridiculous, but this shows you a good size comparison of the iPod Nano watch versus 3 other watch sizes. These are all leather bands. You can kind of see how it looks in comparison to all those on a wrist. I think the iPod Nano watch is probably the most comfortable I have out of these. It's more flexible because of the silicone band. It actually molds to my hand better than the rest of these. It's not going to break down. This is an anodized aluminum, so you're not going to get this kind of problem here where the leather band components are breaking off. It's a really nice and comfortable watch band and very well designed, so kudos to the guys over at Minimal and Scott Wilson for creating such a great product.